explore the intricacies of relationships, uncover solutions to common challenges, and build stronger relationships with practical strategies. Our radio program, Wisdom for Relationships. Tune in to Wisdom for Relationships on Rainbow FM, Wednesday mornings at 7:30 a.m. for insights and wisdom to build and maintain healthy relationships. Our Single Ladies Relationship Bootcamp. Attend our weekend program designed for single ladies to explore and learn principles governing relationships, biblical standards, and answers to key questions. Gain a change in perspective, direction, and hope for the future. Our For Wives seminars. Whether newly married or seasoned, learn strategies for improving communication, navigating challenging times, deepening intimacy, and building trust, and more. Our marriage preparation and intervention program. Take advantage of our comprehensive program offering premarital counseling classes, marriage intervention sessions, and marriage enrichment classes to support you at various stages of your relationship. Our Purpose Discovery program. Discover your life's purpose through our Purpose Discovery programs, answering key questions and understanding how your gifts, talents, skills, and passions intersect to define your purpose. Visit our website, idelight.co.za, or WhatsApp +27 642 001 545 for more information on our various programs. Empower yourself, enrich your relationships, and discover your purpose. Join us on this journey to make life a delight.
All right. Good evening, everybody. See all of you. Welcome for our friends joining online. A big welcome to another Friday evening as we engage the wisdom of God for our relationships. I am Dr. Chuck Sugo here. For those who may be watching this for the first time, this is what we do every Friday evening. We gather and we learn the wisdom of God for our relationship. All right, I want to weigh in on the icebreaker. Yeah, it looks like my heart is covering my face. All right. Last week we started with the scripture where God was asking Cain, "Where is your brother?" And Cain answered God, "Am I my brother's keeper? Am I my brother's keeper?" Now, there's something very profound in that question that God asked Cain. It's a question that God is asking everybody in all types of relationship. Where is your brother? Where is your sister? And I established last week that is one of the most powerful keys in any relationship. Even in the church, as brothers and sisters, I learned a new word today, churchmates. Even as we are churchmates. as I didn't know there was something like churchmates. We church together, churchmates, schoolmates, housemates, churchmates. Okay. So, even as churchmates, that we look out for one another. We look out for one another. God was expecting Cain to know where his brother was. And that's why he said, "Where is your brother?" And Cain said, "What kind of question is that? Am I my brother's keeper?" That was a very rude retort to Almighty God. That's a really rude retort. How do you reply God and say, "Am I my brother's keeper?" God was expecting him to be his brother's keeper, to know where his brother was. And what was happening is that he had killed his brother. He hit him on the back of the head and killed him. And now he shows up before God without his brother. That Am I my brother's keeper? We are supposed to be one another's keeper. At any time, all the people who are in relationship with you, you are supposed to know where they are. You're supposed to know how they are. It's a relationship principle. So this whole thing about paying attention is how you know where they are. If you're not paying attention, you wouldn't know. How are they doing? How are they doing? One of the things that makes God God is his ability to pay attention to all of us. You know that God knows where you are. God is paying attention. He's watching over every one of us. He knows where you are. He knows how you're doing. How can you say you love somebody and you don't know where they are? And you don't know how they are? You know, we can be hypocritical. I say, I love you. But do you know where I am? Do you know how I am? Genuinely. So this whole thing about paying attention, you cannot know where I am if you're not paying attention. You cannot say you love me and you don't know how I am. And the only way to know how I am is you must pay attention. So the question this evening is not just about marriage. Friday evening is about relationships. Are we paying attention? Are we paying attention? Do you know what is happening in your brother's life, in your sister's life? Do you have an idea of what they're going through? You know, one of the things that I found out growing up as a Christian, when I first got born again and started growing in things of God, do you know that God will not tell you anything about somebody that you don't care about? The only time that you receive revelation and about somebody, or God will wake you up to pray for somebody, God will ask you to go and give something to somebody, or go and support somebody, or speak to you about reaching out to them and helping them, is because you pray for them. If you don't pray for somebody, you will hardly, if the heart is not there, even when the Holy Spirit is trying to bring them to your attention, or trying to bring them up, you won't even pick it, because you are so lost in your own world, in your own things, that he's trying to let you know, but you're not even getting the signal. And there are many of us who God had, at one time or the other, prompted you to reach out to somebody, to help somebody, to stand in there for them, but you were not even available. Your mind was everywhere else. So paying attention is the currency for relationships. Paying attention is the currency for relationships. So I haven't seen this brother for a while. I didn't see them in church. Do I care? Do I care? There's this story I read. It's a well-known story. I can't remember the name of the lady now, but if you Google the story, it will come up. This lady lived in an apartment somewhere in the UK, and she died. And nobody knew she died. For like 3 or 4 years, nobody noticed that she disappeared from the surface of the earth. So her body decomposed in her apartment. Her neighbors they said there was a time they were perceiving a smell, but they didn't care. The TV was on. Now remember, in the UK there's no load shedding, so light is on. So the TV was on continuously. It took like 3 years or 4 years. And how did they find out that she was dead? She had set up her bank account for her rent to go through her account by a debit order, and there was enough money. So every month, it went. Every month, it went. So the accounts were being paid by debit order because there was cash in the account until it ran out. So now, landlord didn't get the rent. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So landlord came to check why the rent is not coming. That was when they found her dead, decayed, completely decomposed body in the flat. So the question was asked. She didn't have friends. She didn't have relatives. She disappeared from the scheme of things on the planet and nobody noticed. What kind of life? Just type this story, Google will bring it up. It's what in fact is even in Wikipedia, because nothing like that has ever happened, that you died and disappeared and no one cared. No one noticed that you are not there. No one came to look for you. You know, it's crazy. So I think about that woman. What kind of life was she living? That she died and no one noticed. What kind of life was she living? She must have been an extremely selfish person. That she was not connected to any community. She was not connected to any group of friends. She disconnected herself from a family. I mean, she didn't drop from the sky. She was brought up in a family. Her brothers and sisters didn't look for her. Mother, brothers, aunties, cousins, nobody. Schoolmates, no one missed her. What kind of life was she living? Let me tell you what it was. She paid no attention to anybody. And what she sowed is what she reaped. She paid no attention to anybody. So, no one paid attention to her. So when she disappeared, no one noticed. No one missed her. No one missed her. That's terrible. That's really terrible. No one missed her. Life continued for everybody. It took 3 years. In fact, the only reason why, so if she had like $1 million or whatever, by now they would still not find out that she was gone. All the money, I mean, the rent would have continued running by debit order and nobody would notice. That's terrible. She lived a life that we are not supposed to live. A life of isolation. A life, you're a loner. You've been a loner for a long time. People gave up. Because that's what happened. She had been a loner for a while and people gave up. People gave up looking for her. People gave up trying to chat her up. Because every time you checked up on her, she never responded. You never. So people gave up. So basically, people gave up. And you know how life is. With every relationship, and this is very important, with every relationship, if you don't service it, it dies. That's the thing about relationships. If you don't service it, it dies. Think about people you went to primary school with. If you have not been intentional to keep in touch with them, the relationship is dead. If you find them 10 years later, they are now strangers. They are not strangers to you. You can remember old times. You can remember when Mrs. Agnes was your, classroom teacher in grade 2 or grade 3. That's all you know. That's all you're going to talk about. So, and the reason why the relationship died, you were not intentional to keep the relationships alive. So this thing about paying attention. So when we bring it to the context of marriage, it's critical. And it's not just about marriage. It's about all relationships. Are you paying attention? Are you paying attention? There's a scripture I want to show you. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 16. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 16. Are you there? Look at what the Bible says. It says, take heed to yourself. What's that? Huh? What's that? Pay attention. Take heed to yourself and to the doctrine. The word doctrine is teaching. Take heed to yourself and to the doctrine. Continue in them. For in doing this, what is this? Paying attention to yourself and to the teaching. Continue in them, for in doing this, you will save both yourself and those who hear you. You will save both yourself and who? And those who hear you. Those who hear you are those you are in a relationship with. Those who hear you are those you are in a relationship with. Remember that relationship is about communication. You know that you don't have any relationship with anybody that you don't communicate with. So it is them hearing you that actually establishes the connection. So anyone who receives your words, who hear you, who you talk to, the more you talk to them, the more you develop a relationship with them. So if you want to develop a relationship with me, you're going to be intentional to find time to talk to me. And the more we talk, the stronger our relationship. So the more you hear me, the more I hear you, the stronger our relationship. So what he's talking about there is a relationship. Those who hear you, those who you have a relationship with. Pay attention. So that divorce lawyer may not be a Christian, but he was preaching this scripture. He was preaching the principle in this verse. Paul told Timothy, take heed unto yourself, pay attention. So he spoke about three things: me, you, we. Me, you, we. So, what happens if I pay attention to me, but I don't pay attention to you? What happens? Sorry? Yes. Would there be a relationship? There will be a selfishness strongly present in the union, in the relationship. If all I did was pay attention to me, but I never paid attention to you, you will feel neglected. You will feel uncared for. You will feel disconnected from me. So there won't be a relationship. So if our relationship is a formal relationship, let's say a marriage, so what is keeping us together is the notion that we are married. There is actually, in practical terms, there is no relationship, because all I'm doing is paying attention to me. So what happens if I pay attention to you, but I don't pay attention to me? Come on. If I'm paying attention to you, but I don't pay attention to me, what happens? I lose myself. That's exactly what it is. I lose myself. So I'm here catering to your needs, trying to help you, trying to minister to you, trying to, solve your problems, and I don't pay attention to me. I lose myself. And the problem with losing myself is that the moment I lose myself, I cannot serve you. Because I am not supposed to be a non-entity. I'm not supposed to be non-existent. So if I don't pay attention to me, and all I did was pay attention to you. Now, this is one of the things that we find it a lot in relationships, especially women. Because women are built and wired for relationship. A woman, according to scriptures, a woman was built to be a helpmate. She was built to be a helper to a man. So, number one in her in her wiring is relationship. So a lot of women now go overboard. They lose themselves in trying to make the relationship that the man will pay attention to them. There was this video, I downloaded that video somewhere in one of my computers, of this girl who came on Facebook and made a video on Facebook and saying, she's saying, what do men want? And she was crying out, that she has done this and done this and done this for her boyfriend and everything. And the man ended up still breaking her heart. What do they want? They say she should cook, she should do sex, she should do this one. She has done everything and she's still heartbroken. And she's saying, what do men really want? Washed, cook food, she cooked, do sex, she did, this one she did, and she's still heartbroken. And the question, I use that video clip at Single Ladies Boot Camp. What did she do wrong? What did that woman do wrong? She didn't pay attention to herself. She was busy catering to the man's needs and hoping that she would reap what she was given. No. You need to pay attention to yourself, pay attention to the other person. It must be balanced. And then, what happens if you don't pay attention to me? I don't pay attention to me. I don't pay attention to you, but I pay attention to we. Is it possible? Is it possible? Think about it. It requires thinking. Think about it. Is it possible? I pay no attention to me. I pay no attention to you, but I pay attention to we. Is it possible? Can I do that? Okay, I want to hear. Let's discuss it. Let the mic move. Where are the mics? Yeah. The people online, we need your contribution to the conversation.
I think it's possible. It's just, but I think it will not, you won't give the best to the we. You would only be servicing the we. Basically, you are keeping appearances up. You are fulfilling your marital duties. You are cooking, you are cleaning, you are making appearances to portray we, that we is happening. But each person is not being, as it were, taken care of. But there's a sense of maintaining a facade of we. So, but it's what do I call it? It's limited people contributing to something. So what you're contributing is just small. So, but there will still be, as it were, the we looking like it's happening. That's my thoughts.
Okay, Wesley, let's hear you. I like the class today. Yes.
It's loud. I'm struggling to see how that's possible.
Okay.
Because the ingredients of the we is you and the other person.
Yes, yes.
So if I'm not paying attention to me and the other person, I don't have the ingredients to even make we possible.
Okay.
Unless, like what you're implying, that then you're acting.
Yes. So there are a lot of, let's talk about it. There's a lot of married people who have an appearance of a we, but there's actually no relationship. It's very fake. It's very superficial. So they publicly, they act like we exist. They act like we exist, but there's no we. It's a facade. It's a mirage. It's a mirage. And it won't last. There's no longevity to it. There's no resilience to that we, because it's a facade. It's like a smoke screen. You know, you see it, but there's no solidity to it. Because solidity in a relationship comes from the bond we share. It comes from the bond we share. It comes from the commitment that we have. It comes from my heart and your heart caring for each other. That's what makes the relationship. That it comes from deep within. You know, have you ever related with someone who then you found out that what they claim they have for you is fake? Have you been there? I have. They act like as if they really care, but they don't. How do you know? If you get into trouble, if you need their help, they will not step up. If you need their assistance, they will not come through. Because they really don't care. But they can come up with platitudes, they can come up with flatteries and say things. Oh, you are my best friend. And if you are fooled, you will believe those words until you are in trouble, or there's a need, or you ask them for something. You ask them to make a sacrifice for you. You ask them to, step beyond their comfort zone for you. Then you realize that they really don't care. So all of that is just mouth. They really don't care. Because they are not willing to make any sacrifice for you. And you need to understand relationships deep enough to fish those people out of your life. So you decide. There are two ways to treat those kind of people. You decide. You can go with the facade for the appearance. So you play the game they are playing. If that game is benefiting you in any way. There's a bumper sticker I saw once I was driving. A car bumper sticker. It says, improve your image, be seen with me. Improve your image, be seen with me. So, if their image is creating value for you, then you keep up with the appearance that there's a relationship. If, for instance, the appearance or the frolicking together generates value for you, and you know it's possible. Yeah? It's possible. You know, I read a story, or I heard a story, someone told the story of a very well-accomplished lawyer, like a high-profile lawyer. So there was this young lawyer who needed mentorship from him. So this young lawyer has been trying to, get some time with the older, very well-established lawyer. But it wasn't working. The guy was too busy and something like that. So one day at court, the older lawyer realized, I haven't really helped this guy. And he came to me a few years ago for help. I haven't really helped him. So I'm going to help him today. So, I don't know if you've ever been to court. But if you go to court, like a busy court, it's all lawyers everywhere. So the big established lawyer called that young man. And he came. He called him and they went and stood in the corridor. The corridor where everybody is passing. So he stood there and began to talk to him. The young lawyer didn't understand what he was doing. But he was talking to him. He said, well, tell me, how are you doing? So he was talking to him. While he was talking to him, people were passing. People were passing. So he was just asking him questions and talking to him. The young lawyer didn't understand what he was doing for him. People were passing, all manner of, members of the learned community were passing. And people were shocked that this young lawyer actually knows this very high-profile lawyer and knows him so well that they're spending 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the corridor. So after 30 minutes or so of just talking random things, he shook his hands. He entered his car and he says, "I'll see you on the other side." And he left. The young lawyer did not understand what he did for him. But immediately he left, entered his car and left. People started coming to the young lawyer. People started coming to him to talk to him, to give him briefs. And what that guy did was to transfer his reputation to the young lawyer. So automatically people began to think that the young lawyer was somebody. That he was, you can't have this man talking to you without you knowing something. That's the assumption. And right from there, he got briefs that gave him the breakthrough of his life. And that's all that older man did, was just to transfer his reputation. So this thing of, improve your image, be seen with me. There's value in it. Imagine, just right now as it is, somehow Donald Trump calls me and he's spending 30 minutes with me. Do you know what that means? So when we're talking about the we, so if someone doesn't really care, but their image does something to you, for you, then, just play the game. It's a game. Just play the game. Yes. So play the game for the benefit of being seen with them. But don't fool yourself to think there's a relationship. There's no relationship. So just play the game, get the benefit of the game, and don't expect more than that. Number two, if there's no game to play, in other words, there's no benefit, get rid of the fake. Get rid of the fake. All right. Okay, that was I hope you got something from that. Okay, let's get to our conversation for today. For the whole of the month of November, we have been talking about building resilient relationships. Today, I want to touch on laying the foundation for building a strong and resilient long-term relationship. Laying the foundation. Now, there's something that I want to bring out here. And please, I need you to listen. Relationships are everything. Relationships are everything. In fact, in the kingdom of God, relationships are so important that they're eternal. Hello? They are what? Eternal. So the people you know now in the body of Christ, the people you know now, you will still know them in heaven. So the relationships that we have here will carry on there. So you need to be careful how you manage relationships and how you build with people. One of the things that I have come to know in my few years of being on this planet, they say the world is a small place. The world is a small place. Every time you have an opportunity to relate with somebody, make sure that you treat the relationship with utmost care, because you don't know where you meet again, and you don't know who knows them. You don't know who knows them. You don't know who they know. You don't know where they're going to meet. It's so important that you are above board and a person of integrity in all your dealings with people, because you don't know where you're going to meet again, or who is going to ask you about them or them about you 3 years from today, 5 years from today, 10 years from today. So, there's a principle. How are you building? Many people approach relationships with a short-term perspective, short-term view. And we don't think long. We don't think far. The only reason why you would undercut somebody, or I'm looking for the word, mistreat somebody, take advantage of somebody, is that you're not thinking long term. This is one of the reasons why Jesus taught us that if there is any kind of infraction in a relationship you have with anybody, Jesus says, do what? Try and fix it. You don't know what he taught. Why would Jesus say that? Try and fix it. Try and resolve the issue. As much as it depends on you, live at peace with all men. Now, that does not mean that everybody should be your friend. Some people are better, you love them from afar and leave them far, far away, because their influence on you and what they bring into your life does not sit well with where you're going. So you leave them from afar. Right. But in building, and if I want to narrow it to romantic relationship, we always have to ask that question. How long do I want this to last? You meet a love interest. How long do I want this to last? Many people do not think long term when it comes to romantic relationships. People are so taken by instant gratification. They don't think long term. So in building any relationship that will last a lifetime, you have to think about it from the beginning. See, the Bible teaches that relationships are like buildings. Relationships are like what? It's like buildings. So, look at this building here. I'm not sure how long this building has been, but I can imagine that this building has been here before 1990. I'm just looking at the architecture. This place has been in existence before 1990, so it was built in the 80s. So let's say, for argument's sake, this thing was built in 1980. How old is that? 1980 to now is what? 44 years. Huh? Yeah? 1980 to now is what? 44 years. So this building is 44 years. All things being equal, this building can last another even 100 years, even more. There are those buildings in Europe. If you have seen pictures of, buildings in Portugal, in Italy, in Austria, some of those buildings were built in 1200. Yeah. I saw pictures yesterday of some buildings in Portugal. When you look at this thing, like, this is coming from 13 something. And it's still standing there. So 600 years, 700 years, it's still standing. Solid stone. They used to build those things. What determines the longevity of a building? What determines whether a building will last 10 years or 200 years or 500 years? What determines? Come on, let's go. Foundation 1. Sorry? Structural integrity. Okay. There's something else. The material. The material with which you built. If you see those buildings that are 600 years, there's a temple in India. I think it was in 2007. I was there, and they said this temple is more than 5,000 years. It's more than 5,000. 5,000, not weeks, years. Not hours, 5,000 years. When you look at that temple, the material they used to build it is what is giving it its longevity. Stones. See, if you use grass to build a building, there's no way the grass building will last 50 years. 100 years. Even wooden buildings, there are these wooden buildings that, America uses wood to build. Those buildings can't last 200 years. If you want them to last, then you have to keep treating the wood and keep maintaining the wood. And it has to be very hard wood. What's the point I'm making? The material with which you build determines how long the building will last. It's the same thing with relationships. What are you building with? And how are you building? There's a scripture that says, if of the flesh, if you sow to the flesh, you will of the flesh reap corruption. Sow to the flesh, you will of the flesh what? Reap corruption. And so to the spirit, you will of the spirit reap everlasting life. How you are building, what input you are making in the relationship. If it's coming from the flesh, you will of the flesh reap what? Corruption. What is corruption? Rottenness. Hello? It will be what? Rottenness. So if you are wanting to build solidly for the longest time, you must pay attention to your foundation. You must pay attention to the materials that you are using to build. So, in the context of relationship, your foundation is critical. For all the single people, what is the foundation? What is the foundation? When we're talking about foundation in a relationship, when does the foundation start? Yes. When does it, if you meet a beautiful girl, you saying hello, and she says hello back. When does the building start? When did the building start? Come on. Yeah? No, you need to use the mic. When is the building officially started?
When you commit to each other to start a relationship.
Okay, so when we have that conversation, and I say to you, I love you, and you say you love me back, and we both agree that there's a relationship here, that is when the building starts. So you don't have any relationship with anybody until we have that definition service. I call it a definition service. And this is the problem. Let me backtrack a bit. A lot of single people, especially women, assume that a relationship is on because a guy is nice. Because a guy is paying you attention. He's checking up on you. He picks you up to church. He visits you. He sends you money. He buys you a gift. Or whatever it is. That is not a confirmation that there's a relationship. Because somebody is spending time with you and, and you talk to the person, doesn't mean there's a relationship. A relationship, I'm talking about a romantic relationship, only is confirmed when both of us know what we're doing. Hello? When both of us know what we are doing. So we have talked about it. We have talked about it, we've discussed it, and we both agree. At that moment of agreement, the relationship officially starts. And it is then that we have our foundation issues, the foundation pegs are beginning to be put in place. And I'm saying something to us today. You can't say I'm in a relationship with somebody and they don't know that you're in a relationship with them. You can't assume. I even hear girls say, oh, he's my boyfriend. My boyfriend. The guy says, boyfriend from where? We are church mates. We are churching together. That's another one I heard not long ago. We are churching together. Which boyfriend? We are churching together. So, until there is that definition where both of us are clear on our intentions. And then, so let's assume we have had that definition. We've talked about it. I've asked you, you said yes. What we start doing from that moment is either ruining what we say we want to build, or it's growing it. But no action is innocent or indifferent. So what we start doing from then going forward is either we are adding or we are killing it. And people have killed good things that could have blossomed into flourishing relationships because they were not aware of this principle. Their foundation got corrupted. Their foundation got corrupted. And something that would have blossomed into love, something that would have blossomed into marriage, into a lifetime of commitment, But the rottenness that was put in the foundation undermined it, and the relationship collapsed, and the relationship died. So, foundations are very important when it comes to building resilient relationships. So let's talk about this foundation. What are they? What are they? The first one, and the most important, is our intentions. Our intention. Where do you see this thing going? Where do you see this thing going? If both of us are not on the same page, in other words, I think this is marriage. He thinks, let's just watch and see. Can you see what I'm saying? And there are brothers who are PhD holders in playing that game. Let's watch and see. He's not committing. The girl wants to settle this thing, wants to establish it. So she starts throwing everything she has into it. But he is not committing. So do you think they're building together? They're not. She is investing emotions, money. And if she's stupid and not well raised, she throws her body into it too. So she's cooking. She's doing this one. She's doing that one. But the man didn't commit. What do you think is going to happen 6 months down the road? What do you think is going to happen 1 year down the road? Somebody's going to be hurt. Because both of you are not on the same page. Both of you are not on the same page. So whatever it is you are throwing into the relationship, the guy doesn't see it that way. So you think I'm building for the future. The guy doesn't see any future. And sometimes, and this is where I'm going with this. It's ungodly. It's wrong for a man. In fact, also I've seen it where it's also, the other way, we flip it, a woman. You receive all of these investments, but you don't see a future. I once, got the I heard a story of a guy who was paying school fees. He was paying school fees, paying for this girl through university. When she got her first degree, she said she wants to do a master's. The man said, I'll pay. And he paid for the master's degree 2 years. 4 years, bachelor's degree. 2 years, master's degree. And when, on the day of the graduation, after the master's, the guy says, so now the master's is done, you've got it. Can we talk about our wedding? The woman says, which wedding? What are you talking about? The guy says, our wedding. The girl says, which wedding? So the guy thinks she's joking. The girl says, no, I have no intention. How can you say you have no intention? For 6 years, pocket money, tuition, accommodation, handout, lab fees, everything he was paying. And he was paying because he saw a future. She was receiving collecting. The man will come visit her in the hostel, go back 6 years. Then you come now and say, you never saw anything like that. True story. True story. And it's happened so many times. And when they started asking the girl, she says, no, he's not my type. He's not your type, but you collected his resources for 6 years. You are evil. You are evil. You are so evil, it's not even funny. It's the same thing on the other side as well. So, this is why, for you to say you are in a relationship, don't make assumptions. You need to ask that question. What are we doing? And as the journey is progressing, we need to keep asking the question, are we still headed in the same place? Hello? Are we still what? Headed to the same destination? You need to know. One of the things one of the ways to know that a person is not building long term with you is that they are not interested in future plans. Every time you bring up future plans, they don't want to have a conversation around it. They don't want to talk about the future. They don't see you in their future. So every conversation around the future, they don't want to talk about it. That's how you know. In fact, it's a major red flag. The guy doesn't want to talk about the future. Or the girl doesn't want to talk about the future. Or when you ask them for their plans, how they see themselves 5 years from today, 10 years from today, you are not there. When they describe that future, you don't see yourself there. It's a telltale sign. You know that you're not building anything with them. So it's important that these foundation issues, do we have an agreement of where we're going? Do we both mutually agree? See, once the agreement is there, one of the things that I want to say to everybody, all the single people, tonight is your night. Pay attention. If you are seeing a future with this person, build for that future. Build with that future in mind. Meaning, whatever it is we're doing today that will not add to that future, we mustn't do it. Anything that we do today that jeopardizes that future, we mustn't do it. Because we need to protect that future. It's the same principle even in a marriage. The only reason why marriages collapse is that people stop caring about the future. Because if you are mindful of the future, that I want to still be with this person 20 years from today, there are some things you won't do now. There are some things you will pay attention and you'll be careful about now because my future lies with you. So I am careful what I do today. Because isn't it that the future is the accumulation of what you do every day? Hello? Is that not what the future is? It's what you do every day that eventually makes the future. All right. So, some of the foundational things, let me go through a few of them. There has to be stability and security. Do you feel secure with this person? There has to be what? Stability and security. If you don't feel secure with this person, you don't feel secure in the relationship, there's no future. Let me tell you a story. When I was a final year student at the university, this is way back in 1992. Young engineer, looking forward to graduating. There was this sister who everybody liked. All the brothers wanted her attention. For whatever her reasons were, she liked me. Me, I wasn't interested initially. But she made effort. She made, in fact, serious effort to be friendly. I remember asking myself in March 1992, what's wrong with you? Why are you not paying attention to this girl? So, March 16th, 1992, I can never forget those dates. I opened my heart to the possibility of a relationship with this girl. If you put it in another way, I fell in love. And my heart was taken. And I remember we used to talk a lot. And as we talked, one of the things that made was that there was no security. I was dreaming about a future. She was not talking about a future. And I was very unsettled about it. So I found myself very insecure in that relationship. For some reason, I couldn't, not that, now I know things. That can never happen now because the telltale signs will be. But then I didn't know what was wrong. But I just knew that I didn't feel secure in this relationship. To cut the long story short, August 9, the same year, she broke it. So now, with hindsight and the things that I now understand about relationships, because there was no security. I was the only one who was always talking about the future. She didn't. I could read it. She was not seeing a future with me, even though she said she loved me. So, and that relationship ended, broke my heart. It really, seriously broke it in pieces. I cried. I wailed. It was so bad that when I bend, I feel pain in my chest. I'm telling you. It was then I understood this thing they say is a broken heart. I felt my heart was broken because when I bend like this, I feel pain, physical pain in my chest. Anytime you are in a relationship and there's no security, you don't feel secure, something is. Why do you not feel secure? Why do you feel something is missing there? You need to address it. And don't let it linger. If you're not feeling that security of a future, there's none. Cut your losses and back out. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Cut your losses and do what? And back out. Stop investing and hoping they will come right. Why are they not committing now? I have had ladies who come through single ladies boot camp and I hear their story. And I'm like, really? You've been in with this guy 3 years, 5 years, he's not committing. What are you hoping to happen? They will change their mind. If they haven't seen anything in you to commit to you now, and it's been 5 years, they've been dragging you along, the chances that they will commit is very remote. Don't be a fool. And unfortunately, some people fool themselves and hope, one day he is committing. And one of the things that, breaks my heart, they throw in everything. They throw their body. Some women even get pregnant. They get pregnant. They drop baby number 1. They drop baby number 2. And they were not married. They even move in together. Moving in together does not confirm that there's a commitment here. So, if there's no security, they're not giving you security. And can I say something about this thing of security? A man can even tell you with words, but his actions are not following through. His actions are not following through. See, you need to be able to read through it. Hello? Hello? Are you here? You need to be able to read through it. See, it takes your thought, your actions, and your words to line up for there to be integrity. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Your words, your actions, and what? Your thoughts must line up. So when you are trying to confirm security in a relationship, you need to read those 3 things. What are they thinking? What are they saying? And what are they doing? Is it lining up? Are they congruent? Are their actions congruent? So, let me give you an example of their actions not being congruent. They say they love you, but they can switch off on you for 1 month. You've not heard from them. They're not checking up on you. They're not calling you. They disappear for 1 month. And then they show up again. There was a lady once that came for a single ladies boot camp. She came from Botswana. And she was saying, she was in this relationship with this guy who's a pastor. But she had noticed the pattern. The guy only remembers her month end when she gets paid. Only when she gets paid, the guy remembers. That's when the guy checks up on her. That's when the guy calls her. Only month end, after 25th, when money has come in. And then she will share some money with him and so on and so forth. 30th, then from the 1st, he disappears again. And she thinks she's in a relationship. She is not in a relationship. Because the actions do not confirm commitment. So if somebody just ghosts and disappears, and they don't call on you, they don't check up, they don't ask after you, and then you tell yourself you have a boyfriend somewhere, please, don't be stupid. There's nothing. Every time somebody says, I love you means I'm committed to you. I love you means I am with you. So you can't disappear. It's the same thing with, even, I know this as a pastor. You know how people say, no, pastor, we are with you. Pastor, we are with you. But you don't show up. You don't communicate. You're with you. Me, I know. I didn't start this thing today. Me, I know that I can't count on you. Because you're not committed. You disappear for weeks on end. I'm with you. How? I know you're not. There's no security in it. So, security and stability is a foundational block. Do you feel secure with this person? Do you feel like I have a good relationship with this person? They are committed to me. They are committed to what I'm doing. They are committed to my life. They are committed to my vision. Do you feel it? And for you, always ask yourself that question. What message are you sending out? Are you sending out a message of commitment? In every relationship you are in, are you committed, and how are you communicating your commitment? Hello? Are you here? How are you communicating what? Your commitment. How are you communicating your commitment? Right. We're talking about foundational blocks. Number 2, alignment of values and vision. Are your values aligned? Do they see life the way you see it? Are things that are important to you important to them? See, when I was a single man, and I was single and searching, thank God that seasons come and go. That season was terminated in 1998 for me. It was a very stressful season. That season of searching, single and searching, at least from 1991 to 1998, 7 years of single and searching. It got terminated in 1998. But when, in that 7-year period when I was single and searching, one of the things that I was searching for was alignment of values, alignment of vision. So every time I met a girl and I liked her and we talked, for the next several interactions, I am looking for alignment. I'm asking questions to find out where their heart is. What are they passionate about? What do they see themselves becoming? Me, I knew where I was going. I knew that I would preach the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. I had committed myself to doing it. So whosoever it is that is coming with me must be interested in the work of the Lord. I was looking for that. So every time I met somebody, I was asking the question of values and vision. Okay. So let me ask you a question. If you are with someone, let's say married, for however it is you arrived at the marriage, but now you're noticing that our values are not the same. Our vision is not the same. We're not seeing the same thing. We're not speaking the same thing. What do we do? What do you do? Yeah, you're already married. First of all, do you think there's resiliency in a relationship where there is no vision alignment and values alignment? There's no resiliency. So what do we do? Yeah, let the mic move. What do we do? If you're online, you can contribute to this conversation. Yes. Yes.
We need to have those conversations to get back to basics of what is going to make our relationship last. If we don't get back to those basics, there's nowhere where we're going.
I agree with you. So, and I have been in marriage intervention sessions where this was the big issue, where people felt we live in two different worlds. In fact, I even heard couples use that language. His world is different from my world. but they're married. So how did we arrive there? That's a different story. But now we are there. What do we do? And this is what I normally say. Can we find where we meet each other? Can we find where we intersect? There must be somewhere where we intersect. Where is that? Can we lock in on where we intersect? Maybe we both love a certain sport. We both love a certain pastime. Our love for books is where we intersect. So can we go back to that intentionally? There's a part of my world that she has nothing to do with that world. It's okay. There's a part of our world that I don't get involved. It's okay. But the places where we intersect, we need to build stronger there, so that portion keeps us together. And then we need to ask ourselves the question, why are our values misaligned? Is there anything we can do to align the values? Is there anything we can do to align the vision? What do we see together? How do we see the future together? And then we can start fixing it. This is how you rebuild resiliency. Because if there is complete diversion of vision and values, there's big weakness. There's big weakness in the marriage. There's big weakness in the relationship. So this is why every person who is married must intentionally find ways to connect. Find areas where you agree, you connect, you feel a oneness with this person. It could be your passions. It could be whatever it is. Something attracted both of you. And this is why I say this to single people. When you meet somebody, build a relationship of friendship with them. Be friends. Unfortunately, people don't build friendship. They get emotional, they get sexual, but there's no friendship. And people think sex will keep a relationship. Sex never keeps any relationship. If sex kept a relationship, there will not be baby mamas and baby papas. There won't be such. If sex kept relationships, it doesn't. So, what keeps a relationship is a friendship. Build the friendship. And you can intentionally build a friendship with somebody. You build a friendship, you find where you connect. You find how you connect. And you build on the things that you connect. I have friends all over the world. And some friends, became my friends because we were in school together. So I have those friends. We were friends because we were schoolmates or we were classmates. I have friends that they are my friends because we share an interest. There's a friend I have. What made us friends is our interest in reading. I love books. And one day, that's actually how we became friends. I had books with me. And then he saw some books. I was like, you know this book? I said, yes. We started talking about the book. And he knew the book. And then I found out that he loved books. Just like I love books. Then he invited me to his library. Oh my God. I thought I was acquiring a library until I saw his. He had all manner of books. So we became friends based on our love for books. So I will borrow books from him. He will borrow books from me. We'll talk about books. And we became friends. And we are still friends today based on books. In fact, it was It was that brother that introduced me to Dr. Miles, his books. That's how I got to know Dr. Francis Miles, because it was his books. So, and eventually, when I met Dr. Francis Miles in person, I had to call him and say, do you remember that book you gave me in 2009 or 2010? I have met the author, and I want to introduce him to you. So I eventually introduced him to the author of the book in person, and they are now friends with Dr. Miles. But it started with our love for books. So the question is, where do you find connection with this person? There must be something. Maybe your love for food. Maybe your love for whatever, outdoors, whatever. Build on in the areas where you intersect. And this is for people whose relationship is seeming like we are going in two different directions. All right. Let's go to the next one. I want to see if I can do two more before we take a break. Another foundational block is resiliency in challenges. Our willingness to weather the storm. Our willingness to fight through the challenges and the difficulties of life. You know, how you know a fake relationship is when you get into trouble or you get into difficulty and they're not there for you. They're not willing to make any sacrifice to help you. Some people are so skilled and so sly. It is when you need their help, they come up with all kinds of excuses. That's when they are traveling. That's when we are available. That's when something is somewhere. And you notice the pattern. See, whenever you read that, it's not a genuine relationship. You notice they are not available to help you. They are not available. They make excuses every time you need them. They make excuses every time you ask them for something. There's no genuine. So, resiliency during challenges is a test. So note it today. For every student of relationship, note it. If you call them, do they answer? Do you know that, one of the things that we have with the God we serve is that he answers us when we call on him. Hello? He answers us. Is that not what his word says? He says he's the God that answers prayers. When we call on him, he answers us. He shows us mercy. He shows us help. Do you know that people who have problems with God, one of the things that they have problems with that they had things they asked God and they didn't get the answer they thought they should get, they get offended at God. There are people who have turned their back on God and walked away from church, walked away from God, and they carry hurt and carry disappointment. It's because they felt he didn't come through for them when they called on him. Why did you allow my mother to die? Why did you allow my child to die? Why did you allow and they have offense towards God because they felt that he was not there for them. Of course, Satan lied to them. The enemy lied to them. The devil, mixed up things in their head and they got offended. So, our willingness to stand with people when they need them, when they need us, is one of the ways that we build strength into a relationship. So think about it. If you want to build any relationship with a person, be sensitive when they need your help. Be sensitive when they ask for help. They need your assistance. They need your help. Maybe money, maybe physical things, maybe whatever. you are willing to give that help, what you are saying by your action is, I value our relationship. And when you make excuses and you're never available to help when they need your help, what you're saying by your action is, I don't value the relationship. So let me give you another one. Trust. Trust. Do you trust them? Do they give up vibes that make you unsure where they are concerned? Do they do things? Ask yourself that question. Are you trustworthy? Are you trustworthy? How do you show yourself trustworthy? You show yourself trustworthy by doing what you said you would do. By doing what? I have church members who have shown me over time never to trust them. Oh, Pastor, I'm going to be there. And they never show. I'm coming on Sunday. And they never show. You need help for this conference. I'll be there. And they never show. When people don't follow through on what they promise, they show you that you shouldn't expect more in the future. So if you are that person who does not follow through on their promises, just know that you will never build strong, resilient relationships. What do you do with people's vulnerability? What do you do with people's vulnerability? What do you do when they show you their vulnerability? Do you protect it? Do you defend it? Or do you exploit it? That's another way you build trust. If you exploit people's vulnerability, they can't trust you. Okay, let me give you the last one, and then we take a break. When we come back, we're going to take a few questions. Mutual respect. Mutual respect. You know, one of the ways that you figure who values you is how much they respect you. How much they respect your boundaries. How much they respect the things that are important to you. People who don't respect your boundaries, who don't respect your values, that don't respect your treasures, you can't build anything lasting with them. Let me give you examples. And this is one of the things that I use to determine who stays in my inner circle and who stays out. Those who know me, my friends, know that most of the days, except I'm preaching, ministering like this, 8 o'clock I'm in bed. I go to bed early. And you say you're my friend. And you know that 8 o'clock is curfew. Was light out. But you keep calling me at 8:30, at 9 o'clock every day. Me, I'll start looking at you with one corner of my eye. You do it and I pick up your call, drowsy, and I hear it's not an emergency. It's not like you're in emergency. Of course, if it's an emergency, I understand it. But this is not an emergency. And I say to you, dude, I'm in bed. Tomorrow you do it again. Next tomorrow you do it again. When I notice that you are consistent in not respecting my boundaries, I know that you are a person that I can't build a solid relationship with. It's something when you are dating a girl and she says, I don't want you to touch me. And you continue trying to touch her. Girl, run. Do what? Run. Move, fly, disappear, whatever. Just get away from that person. Because if your personal boundaries, and you have spelled it out, but they don't want to observe your boundaries, and they keep trying to touch you, and when you said, I don't want you to touch me, and you think, oh, and he says, I love you, stop it. If you love me, you respect my boundaries. Write that statement down. If you love me, you will what? Respect my boundaries. Whether they're boundaries of time, whether they're boundaries of resources, if you love me, you respect my boundaries. People who don't respect your boundaries are not wanting to build long term with you. Let me give you examples. And what I'm saying to you right now is so profound. They say, borrow me money. I will pay you back on Monday. You borrow them money. On Monday, they are quiet. On Monday, they are quiet. Monday turns to Friday. They are not saying anything about the money. Friday turns to another Monday. They are quiet. That's already a red flag. That's what? A red flag. They are not respecting the commitment that they made. And can I say something to you? Don't be that person. Don't be that person that makes commitment and don't follow through. If you are not able to meet up with the obligation, make a phone call. Send a WhatsApp message. I know that I promised to pay back today. I am sorry I haven't raised the money. Please, can I have 5 more days? And what I'm teaching you now applies even to siblings, to relatives. Are you hearing what I'm saying? If people don't respect your boundaries and respect the commitments they make, know that, see, they are taking the relationship for granted. So if you have relatives, cousins, siblings who constantly violate your resources, violate your time, just know, yes, we may be siblings. There's no covenant here. Because they're not respecting your resources. They're not respecting it. So you can't disown them. Your mother has already given birth to them. They look like you. You bear the same name. But you need to be careful around them. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Yes. They may be your siblings, but they are not respecting the relationship. And again, don't be that sibling. Don't be that sibling. Don't take people for granted. Don't take people's resources. You have no right to abuse their resource because the same mother gave birth to all of you. Hello. You have no right. There's this thing that siblings have, like they feel they have a right to your resources. We are how? You are my brother, yes, but my money is not your money. Hello, brother. But my wife is not your wife. Stop it. My money is not your money. It's not. Go and get your own. I can borrow you, I can help you, but please. It is this thinking that make people, and I see it a lot in Africa, it happens a lot. A man dies, his siblings attack his wife, take everything from her, and leave her with the children with nothing. It happens all the time. It says our brother's car is our brother's house. You are a stranger. You came from somewhere. Go back to your father's house. They send the woman away with the man's children and take everything that the man has. Because they feel entitled. They say it's our brother's property. The devil is a liar. Let me drop something here. It's something that I can't remember who taught us that principle. But they said to me as a man, anything you buy from now going forward, register it in your wife's name. If you buy property, register it where? In her name. You buy a car, register it in her name. Nobody can come and claim it if you are not there. Nobody can come and fight it if you are not there. So I'm leaving something with the men. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So you can protect your family. And I've seen this story even in recent times. Somebody passes away and family members descend like vultures. And they chase the woman away and chase the children away. So I round this up by saying the foundation of a relationship that lasts must have some of these things that I have shared. All right, can we take a break? 5 minutes. Is 5 minutes good? Sorry? Right, so when we come back from the break, this teaching is available on YouTube. We're going to cut off the YouTube now, and then the conversation after the break is only going to be on the Telegram channel. So if you have access to Telegram, this is where the conversation is going to continue after the break.